Hello, hello everyone. We are into the first, actually not the first because other have happened, but this is the first quarterfinal, the only quarterfinal game that we will be watching. It'll be between Luccini Gaming, as they have made it all the way to the round of 5, versus Turn My Swag On. Not much of an introduction needed for Turn My Swag On. If you guys are just tuning in, you've probably heard of them. We could give you some lowdown on them, but of course, Luccini Gaming we have not heard of too much. Again, when I say we, the co-caster, as always, will be Nizcast, and you guys will bring you guys some insight and ideas about this game and the draft and the play. I'm excited to have him, and I'm excited for this game as we're getting closer to the end. And he has just gotten back, as he has messaged me, so he missed the lovely introduction. He didn't hear me stroke his ego, so you guys can all make fun of him in chat, and he'll feel sad about his. No, I'm just kidding. Please don't flame Marino, the co-caster Marino. That would not be cool. But yeah, thank you so much, guys, for watching this. And we will get right into the action as the draft permits. We do see pretty standard bans, though, not too much to talk about. Lycan, Death Prophet, very standard heroes this day and age, or this meta of Dota right now, is both strong pushing heroes. People are scared of push, and for good reason, over the last few months.
Oh, absolutely. You know, when I was playing a ton, we were one of the only teams playing Death Prophet. And then Death Prophet started to see a little bit of light, and everyone's like, oh my god, Death Prophet, push, 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 push. I'm glad to see that not everyone's just focused on push, though. Death Prophet's starting to come into her own, showing, you know, I don't have to be in some, like, cheesy kind of style, just push and rush your face down kind of strategy. I can go a little bit later into the game, and I can show that Death Prophet's a dominant hero. But, you know, Viper, kind of similar, not so much in the push, but kind of the mid-game dominating hero.
Yeah, no, most definitely. And if she gets far enough ahead, she can just run over in fights. And if you've been watching EG recently, when they're able to get their hands on that Death Prophet for RaptorZ, they've been able to do quite a number on, you know, C9 and other teams recently. But we do see Viper. It's the first pickup, Luccini. Going with that. Turn My Swag On is going to go with the Centaur Warrunner. And Centaur Warrunner is a man, is a beast, is honestly one of my favorite heroes when it comes to controlling the tempo of the game, because he gives your entire team haste. That haste slows people when they run under it. His stomp has a very long duration stun to start off with and goes up to 3 seconds, which is longer than Ravage. And, you know, when you have something like a Shadow Shaman to follow it up, stop 4 heroes and then Ether Shock them, and then double edge them, you can basically clean the floor of an entire team really quickly, if synchronized very well.
Yeah, not many heroes are going to survive that. Unless you're like Bristleback or something like that. Jakiro, finally! How has this hero not been seen in any of our games?
That's true. He's really common right now. Or really popular.
Goodness. He's so strong, especially if you like decide to throw him in like kind of a dual lane off lane stuff like something like that. He is so strong, and I can't believe he's been skipped over in all these drafts. So Luccini or Luccini, I'm not sure how they pronounce it. Could do some interesting stuff with this Jakiro, or it could just be boring and some kind of defensive trialing. But let's hope it's not that.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Jakiro can do a lot for your team. I love the way Liquid Fire works, and at level 4, Liquid Fire is a free 150 damage per use to a tower, not to mention the damage that it does by slowing down the tower's attack while the creep wave is beating on it. But there are a lot of interesting things about Jakiro. There is still a Faceless Void in the pool, which is very important to point out. Synergizes very well with Jakiro, and honestly with Rasta. Sure, you can't use the wards in the Chronosphere. Well, they're just going to go ahead and ban it out. So bye-bye Faceless Void. Ignore everything I was talking about. The other heroes that I think are pretty big and worth noting, Pugna is a decent one, but Tidehunter is a bigger one that comes to mind. We have not seen him banned out yet. And with the Faceless Void on the sidelines, heroes like Tidehunter, plus a Centaur, which you usually don't see, but, you know, Tidehunter on the side of Luccini, gives them a lot of teamfight control to deal with a hero like Centaur who wants to face rush into them.
Absolutely. And you know what? I always, as common and as, I don't know, but as everyone kind of sees Tide right now, everyone's just like, you know what? This is a good hero. I still think he's undervalued. I think this is a hero that has so much versatility, especially in the draft. I feel like people are just like, oh, well, it's Tidehunter, it's off lane. And that's how we see it 99% of the time. He still has potential to be a support. Is it going to happen this game? Probably not. But, you know, just because they have a centaur doesn't mean they can't pick it.
No, it's true. And
however, you're putting all your eggs in one basket. That's kind of the problem.
Well, to add to your point,
really,
you don't even have to put him as support. E.g., Fear runs him as carry. I mean, there are definitely interesting ways to lane that hero.
But that's what I mean. Like, if you do that, then you're kind of stepping back in the meta and going to, you know, kind of how EG likes to play it, where they used to put RaptorZ on like a really strong kind of, that's your hard carry in the middle lane. Which, do you want to do that against a Viper? Or potential of a Viper? I don't know.
Yeah, it depends on your confidence in your mid player, and I think it also depends on your confidence in the strategy to guarantee that hero to get online, and that's usually what most... That's why EG does draft around RaptorZ. They do feel confident that they can set him up, but with that being said, you're definitely right. Viper is a lane-dominating hero, but if there's one thing, at least when I was learning how to draft and getting better at drafting, I quickly learned that you can never try to pick around a Viper, because trying to pick around a Viper, it never works. I do like the Earthshaker, but to finish my thought, when you're playing up against a Viper, you want to draft what you're going to draft, as long as it doesn't get like straight countered by a Viper. Obviously, you want to adjust then. But you don't want to overthink it and be like, well, now we need this hero middle because Viper's middle. You still need to work with what you were thinking about. And I like Earthshaker a lot, because Earthshaker Rasta, incredibly strong roaming combo, plus the fact that Earthshaker can really change the way the fights break down with heroes like Viper on the other side and prevent them from you know, I guess getting on heroes, you know, chasing them down with that Nether Toxin and Poison attack. You can just Fisher and casually walk away.
Well, absolutely. You know, that's unfortunately one of the pains of Viper, and now you see Tidehunter come out. So we were just talking about Tide, and it actually ends up going on the side of Luccini, where now they've got the Tidehunter and the Jakiro. Oh my goodness, if they have Tidehunter in the offlane and Jakiro there, that could be scary.
Yeah, that would be a very interesting dual lane.
I don't know if they're going to do that. Well, I was going to say probably not, but who knows. I hope they do. But yeah, like, Viper is just a pain to deal with. No matter how you try to mold your draft around it, Viper's is Viper. That's what he does. He dominates the lane. He dominates in some way or another. We saw last game, he was going to dominate that lane one way or another. Cakes did a good job of minimizing it on the Tidehunter, kind of getting what he needed. He had a good gank support from... Who was it?
It was for them last game. They had the Vengeful Spirit and the or not the Vengeful Spirit. Sorry, the Skywrath Mage and the Shadow Shaman.
Yeah, I can't remember who actually rotated to help him kill the Viper, but it allowed him to get back into the game and get his core, and it allowed him to get his mana boots. But
it was the roster for that bottom gank that you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like, oh, it's so good.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
It's so hard to shut down.
Templar Assassin.
That Templar Assassin is much like Pudge in my opinion, where she can dominate and just wreck a game. Like, flat out, you can lose a game because of TA, and there really doesn't need to be much more said than that. But at the same token, TA is horrid when she is behind, because yeah, she gets damage from a fraction. Yeah, she can meld. But she doesn't have any lockdown. Her traps are nice for vision, but, you know, eventually you can just kind of stand there and focus her down. But she also beats Invoker middle. So that does give Luccini Gaming some kind of versatility in their draft, because right now Turn My Swag On either has to accept a losing mid, or they have to switch up their draft a little bit. And honestly, you have a Viper and a TA. TA can farm safe lane. Viper can mid lane or farm safe lane, much like TA. And of course, Tide, we were talking about, could really go anywhere. The only limiting factor, in my opinion, is really TA, as we do see that Skywrath is the last ban for Turn My Swag On.
Well, here's the interesting thing. Obviously, you've got your Viper, your Tide, and your TA in different lanes. Well, not obviously. Tide could be the support, but most likely that's how you're going to have the breakdown of lanes. Do they have the potential of going, because they want TA against the Invoker, The Tide they could put against the Centaur, and they could go aggressive with the Jakiro and the Viper. Into an Earthshaker? I don't know.
Yeah,
But
it
there's
could be
definitely
risky.
potential for that. Otherwise, they could just take Tide, throw them in the off lane, and just go safe lane. But I think that's kind of wasted putting Viper in a safe lane tri lane. It's kind of weird. But because
Yeah.
I think you want the TA mid against the Invoker.
I mean, I completely agree with that. Or in some way, you want the TA against at least a hero she can beat. And honestly, all the heroes that are on the map so far, she can. I guess really, yeah, it just comes down to a question of how do your lanes shut down, turn my swag on? Because if they get rolling, right, I think they could pick apart Luccini Gaming. But Ember Spirit will be the final pick. We'll probably see Relic go ahead and take that up. Ryu Burrows on the mid Invoker, which leaves the off lane Centaur War Runner for Cakes, most likely. But again, I think for Luccini Gaming, what they need to be watching out for is turn my swag on once to dissect them, because they know they can't run into a Ravage, especially on even terms. But if they're up 20 kills or 15 kills because they've been getting Sunstrike picks, Ember Spirit picks, whatever it is, then they can go ahead and run at them. Enchantress, however, definitely throws a really interesting vibe into this game, because Luccini Gaming could just push and pressure, and you can split farm with the TA, or you can bring the TA to the fight. It really just depends on your preference and what you want to do with the hero and your strategy.
It's crazy. I don't know. I don't think pushing's gonna work, unfortunately.
Yeah, you feel a little bit of doom from
I
Luccini right now.
Oh man, I think it's really hard to push, especially when you're trying to push uphill. You're doing against a Centaur. You're doing against a Shadow Shaman. You got Earthshaker, Fissure blocking, causing chaos with his Echo. All the heroes are just a pain to push uphill against. I don't. You may be able to roll off the back of taking a bunch of towers around the map and snowballing off that gold, but I don't see how you're ever going to push uphill. That's why I'm not a fan of that Enchantress pick. But you know what? They could just dominate the lanes, and it's not even going to matter what heroes you have. If you're that far ahead, you can push uphill in 15 minutes. But we're talking about turn my swag on here, and I don't think they're going to fall that far behind in their lanes.
Yeah, and if they do, that's what Luccini is going to need to do to win this game. We'll go ahead and hold off on the introductions, as Luccini does have disconnection here, and I do not remember any other. Actually, no, never mind. You can see the names. I do remember the heroes, so we'll go ahead and start this introduction. I'll go ahead and take the harder one, Luccini, as they have not picked all their heroes. We have, wow, exclamation point, the captain picking up the Enchantress. We have Greedy either picking up the Tidehunter or that, oh god, now I forgot their other support hero. TA, oh god, it wasn't even a support. Worse, RaptorZ fail, internet flame, please. Luccini, all a deal, gonna be picking up that Viper. B, picking up that Jakiro support, and of course TO7 picking up either that Tide or the TA. We'll see which one.
Alright, first of all, you left out, I believe, 3 Bs on that name. Second of all, on this dire side, we've got Turn My Swag On. We've got the captain, Sleazel, playing the Earthshaker. We have Cakes on the Centaur War Runner. We've got Relic on the Ember Spirit once again. We have the dominant Ryu Boras from last game, who's playing Invoker this time, not Razor. And we've got I'm a Sheep Sucks on the Rasta, which I believe he also played last game.
Just interacting with some viewers, but yeah, no, we'll see if they can pull off the same level of execution they did in the last game. But I think that they can, and I honestly think it's one thing about Dota 2 is it's really helpful when you draft a lineup that is easy to execute. Now, you can take this and you could say, oh, well, the team that drafts the easier lineup is going to win. That's not always true. But when you have a lineup that doesn't require, 2 or 3 pianist heroes, and all you have to do is, land a good Fissure, blink and get a good stomp. Make sure you land the Sunstrike. Like, Relic's the only hero on this team that's really high execution. I guess Ryu Burrows is too. I don't consider Invoker that high execution, though, until later portions in the game. Because generally speaking, when you go Exort, or even Wex, your spells, you're limited on how many you can use. But anyways, my point is that everything is easy to execute in the early game. So they just need to make sure they put themselves in the right position. And then they execute, and they should be able to win this game.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think I just kind of want to echo a little bit about what you said about picking a team that's easy to execute, and that's a lot of why we don't see hyper aggression coming in. We do see aggression in games where teams try to really push and put a lot of pressure on, but it's not hyper aggression like we used to see way back in like 6.48b, around that era way back in Dota 1, where teams would just go like crazy, just gank, 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 gank. Who cares about a late game carry? We're just going to gank you all day long. And you don't really see that picked up, especially now, because if you make one mistake and you lose a team fight, you're pretty much screwed, because you're just all relying on snowballing so hard. And it's really hard execution-wise to do that without making one small slip-up. You can't give any headway to the other team when you're relying strictly on killing people to snowball. Yeah, there's been some changes with the amount of gold you earn and all that stuff, but that's the main reason. I think Swag has picked a team that isn't as easy to I don't want to say play, but easy to win with, I guess. Maybe play is the right way to say it. As you made it to believe, you've got fissures which you could mess up and they could really change a team fight. Relic on the Ember Spirit, he's got a lot of stuff that he needs to do with landing stuff at the right time. And of course, Ryabora's on the Invoker. There's stuff that can be missed there. There's really vital stuff that can be missed there. But I'm not really worried about the mechanical side of things. I think they can actually execute really well. We've seen these guys do incredible things with in terms of execution and stuff. And yeah, last game Ryabora's on the Razor was just kind of running over everyone, but I don't think it's too hard to do what they need to do with this lineup to come out with a victory. And the same thing that goes for Luccini. I think they're a lot closer to that kind of hyper aggression that I mentioned at the start of this rant, but they're kind of on that timer. But it's not a timer as in the sense of they've got to win by a certain amount of time. I guess it is in some way, but it's more so we got to go this long in the game without mistakes, because they need to do a lot and they need to push and they need to take control of the map, take towers, and get some kind of advantage in some way without giving any headroom to their opponent.
Alright, well, hopefully we can get this game going, guys, and we can actually get in to the first quarterfinal or semifinal. Quarterfinal of this tournament. Unfortunately, this is going to make it run a lot later than we were expecting. That was a full 30-minute pause, so thank you so much to everyone who stayed around. You guys are troopers, more than I can possibly imagine. Thank you so much for sticking around, and we can give you guys this game without further ado.
Yeah, as much as I want to keep talking about random video game stuff and nostalgic WoW stuff, we've got a Dota game which I'd rather talk about. So let's hop right into this.
Mario Bros does have a haste rune in this top lane. We'll be just zoning out the Tidehunter, it looks like. And interesting lanes coming out of Luccini. We have a 2-1-2, Viper, Jakiro in the bottom lane. Top lane, actually it's going to be, what am I saying, not 2-1-2, sorry, Enchantress. But they do the Viper and Jakiro like you were talking about. And the double dot damage is going to be really nice to help zone out cakes. And yeah, they do go poison attack first on the Viper, so they have lots of dot damage to work with. And again, guys, apologize if I screw up in the casting. I'm getting back into it. 30 minutes, I was like, oh god, my hype is totally derailed. Get that hype back on, guys.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that there was potential for them to actually put Jakiro in the top lane with the Tide, but I actually, come to think of it now, I think that may not be the best, because Jakiro is going to try to be a little bit aggressive, and Earthshaker could really screw everything up. So I think it's actually probably safer and more beneficial to put Jakiro in the bottom with the Viper. It's safe, and you can put a lot of pressure on the center. He's not going to get anything, whereas he would get a little bit if he was just against the Viper. I think the Enchantress isn't even going to show up bottom at all. I think Enchantress's job is to put pressure on the mid, especially this game. But in general, I think That's what she likes to do. So look for her to get one of those annoying ass cyclone creeps. But she's got the mana burn creep right now, the satyr. And
It's
starting to move
quite
out.
annoying, but one thing to note, as I do love playing Enchantress, so I'm a little bit picky, she does send it into the middle lane with a very low HP, so it's going to be hard for her. She actually does pull the range creep, and that will kill this creep if she doesn't keep micro on it. We'll just go ahead and turn around and click it down. I think that's the right decision. But yeah, it is low HP, so that's one thing if you're going to play this kind of Fenrir style of Enchantress, which honestly I think he's the only pro that's really popularized it from my study. But you don't go into the lane with the creeps, you send the creeps alone and you stay in the jungle, and you farm while putting pressure with the creeps. And it's a very effective style if you can handle the multitasking. So we'll see if Enchantress chooses that or the ganking style that we see out of like No-Tail and Puppy and standard Western Enchantress players, where they like to, you know, work with the hero and the creeps rather than just the creeps.
Absolutely. Why not? I think that's definitely the better way to play it as well. Obviously, you've got a ton of experience on the Enchantress, and I used to play Enchantress way back in the day, but didn't get back into it, and we had Indy playing it while I was playing. But yeah, I think it's one of those very, very powerful heroes. I do think it's actually stronger than Chen right now, for sure, and it's a much stronger pick. So that's why it's picked over Chen a lot more, because she can actually become a hero later in the game, whereas Chen's is like...
Definitely true. Mid lane though, Greedy gonna lose his entire refraction charges. Maybe Ember Spirit wants to do something with this as his teammate Sleazel is in the area. If he did get off of Bolas, they could follow up the stun, but it looks like they're just gonna use Sleazel to control the rune. Centaur at the same time gonna be helping control that rune. It looks like, wow, the Enchantress will go ahead and opt for the more aggressive stick with your body, or stick with your hero and the creeps together and pressure this down. And with Liquid Fire, there is definitely a better case for that argument. Actually, no, I'm wrong. She's just going to leave the creep there and allow that to help Viper and Jakiro take care of this. However, a great Fissure block coming out of Sleazel is going to prevent the escape. Actually, BBB just eats through the trees, so great play by Heaven. Now, I'm a Sheepsock is at risk of being the first blood and will die to the creep. Wow, getting that first blood, and now Centaur is in a little bit of a wrong place. That tower will fall now at 80 HP with an Alpha Wolf. No chance that this tower stays up, and Luccini taking a big step here in this game. Like, I don't really know what else to say besides that. That's just like that after a long pause like that too, you know, these players are frustrated, they're upset, but the spirits for Luccini are all of a sudden going to be majorly shifted.
Yeah, absolutely. That was actually a really good rotation from Sleazel. He actually walked from top all the way to bottom and wasn't spotted the entire way. Like you said, he went to check the bottom rune. Obviously, that was already handled by the Enchantress. WoW on the Enchantress. But then he was waiting up top, and as he came down, I thought that was a for sure kill on Jakiro. But BBB just ate a tree, got out of there, and they ended up turning it around and getting a kill. That was action middle on Greedy.
Yeah, and then bottom lane. Sorry guys, I'm missing that. We will see, or actually, sorry, Templar Assassin in the lane. I clicked down to the bottom lane because Centaur was getting low. He does escape. Templar Assassin does fall though, so Swag does answer back on the scoreboard, making it 1-1. Maybe there's some more action top as Ryu is taking quite a bit of damage from TO7. Not enough to net a kill. But Sleazel and I'm a Sheepsocks have effectively, pretty quickly here, rotated into this bottom lane, but it looks like the Radiant side is aware of this. So they do that of Enchantress creep, and Greedy's going to be back into the lane. Does immediately pop that refraction charge to get the pre-1. Note that he also still does have a regen bottled as well, which will be very helpful for him to keep up the CS in this lane and spam that refraction. Ryu Burrows actually might be able to just get a kill in the top lane. One more right click from him should be enough to net that, and he does, as he did get the Sunstrike into the Sunstrike Cold Snap timing combo perfectly right. Able to just burst him down. I'm a Sheepsocks and Sleazel hiding off to the side. They might actually be able to turn this around, and yeah, they are going to be able to. Fissure is going to come out. It's going to hit on BBB, but not enough to follow it up. But oh, with that Centaur ult, they will be able to chase it down. Relic with the Flame Guard chasing hard does throw out that Bolas, dealing quite a bit of damage to WoW. He's dropping low consistently from that Flame Guard. They don't have enough damage to pop it out. Sleazel gets turned around on by the Viper, ends up falling. Ember Spirit does clean up the Enchantress, but Viper getting that return kill makes it a relatively even trade, and the fact that they've forced rotations makes it maybe a slight favor for Luccini.
Yeah, that was actually a really good job body blocking by Relic to make sure that they got the kill on the Enchantress. If he had just stopped and attacked, I think she actually probably would have been able to get away. or Relic would have had to gone really, really deep, probably all the way to the tier 1 to have gotten that kill on Enchantress. But his body blocking allowed him to not go too deep at all. But in the meantime, Sleazel got turned around on, and Viper, played by Aliadil, was able to pick up that kill.
Sleazel and Sheep, or Army Sheep, are going to go ahead and smoke up. That was under ward vision, so I think Greedy should be aware of this, but it looks like based on his positioning, he's not, which means he's going to get wrapped around on here. He does have a haste that's worth noting, but the Fisher block is going to go ahead and hold him up, and with the Sunstrike, as well as that Flame Guard to remove the refraction, there is zero chance that any of that refraction absorbs the Sunstrike, aka a crap ton of damage, total of 285 pure damage currently.
Yeah, this game's actually going pretty well in favor of Luccini at the moment. This is
You mean Swag? I think.
No.
You think with the... Tio gonna get picked off. That might kind of change your argument, but will go down here maybe. I don't know. Should make it away. Never mind. Doesn't. Gets killed. Anchor Smash not quite powerful enough. But go ahead, finish your thought in this.
Well, I guess it is actually going in favor of Swag, but I don't know. I think Luccini's actually getting more on the map. Swag's moving around and getting kills, but I think they're still going to be falling behind a bit when it comes to gold and maybe experience.
Oh no! God damn it! I literally just face palmed.
Swag's actually ahead in XP. I'm wrong, but Luccini is ahead in gold, so I was right in that sense. But yeah, actually, I think Luccini's in an okay spot right now. I think this TA, if this TA could stay alive, those 2 kills were really, really hurtful. So they're gonna get a kill on Relic though.
Yeah, Relic. It might maybe. Oh, it does go down in the middle lane as that last right click does clean him up. Centaur ult is gonna get popped. Templar Assassin DCs from the game, and I'm literally going full facepalm mode.
Not again.
I don't know what to say, guys. Unfortunately, again, the rules are not written well here. So we may just be waiting. So, Miz, guess what I get to do? Decide how the fuck to edit this video. Oh, God. Oh, God. How the hell am I going to edit this video? I'm so bad at editing.
I guess we go back to talking about WoW and other video games.
You know what? I'm kicking it right to you, Niz. I'm all for sit back a little bit, as I am personally getting exhausted from this pausing. It's just kind of ruining my alertness level, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is a little much, but I have to agree with Disembodied. The cool part about the battle with Brutalis was the whole killing of Madragosa stuff and how that turned into Fell Mist. And I have to agree, that was really, really cool how they implemented all that. And just that's what I really liked about Sunwell. It made sense, kind of. And the Fell Mist fight was really, really cool because it was in exactly the same room as Brutalis, but they made it so different. And it was just awesome. And I was also the one who used to call I did a lot of raid leading, and I used to call where the entire raid would go to avoid the Fell Mist blast, which was hilarious when you got it wrong. Well, hilarious from my point of view, but so that was always fun. Oh, TA's back.
Yeah, he is gonna get back, and maybe that will mean the game can continue. I hope so. I would like it to continue. No, the pause comes out of Jakiro, because unfortunately this is killing us. It's killing everyone's mood about this game. I wish there was something magical we could do about it for you guys. There's only so much that we can do.
Let's find something on the map that we're gonna care. Well, actually, I guess we should just care about the tower.
I mean, I could care about the tower and the smiley face I just drew.
You drew a smiley face?
I did.
I missed it.
I'm gonna draw a bigger one. Now you see it, right?
Yeah, I see it.
You see that big ass smiley face? That's one happy smiley face. Look how big that smile. That's like a maniac smile. That's not even like natural.
It's like a Walmart cutting prices smile.
Oh God. God, give me nightmares tonight. Can do what that other guy was doing, drawing connection bubbles between each tower. as if it's some sort of phone game where you have to draw and make little lines and test your memory, make sure that you're an intelligent human being.
Why are my lines so much thicker than yours?
Both of our lines are thick. Mine just draws multiple lines at a time, and we can actually get back into this game, guys. It's greedy. Does meld, dodge that hit, and now pops that regen. Sunstrike misses, so he won't go down, but bottom tower does fall in favor of Luccini Gaming, making that gold graph swing even more drastically in the favor of Luccini. However, the experience graph is going in the other direction, which generally speaking is the more important graph, but we'll see if that decides the fate of this game. As Sleazel is in the area.
Still coming mid.
Yes, they want to fight that, or they want to continue to push. The Sleazel is here. Relic is going to go ahead and TP in. He doesn't know about the rotations. He should now, as Relic is caught off between multiple heroes, is going to get focused down potentially. Flame Guard is still active, as well as one more Remnant. Now the TP in from his team is going to be here to defend him. However, it was a little late. They're not going to be able to get any kills off of it right now. Ravage is up, as well as parts of Mechanism, now a full Mechanism onto Viper. So Luccini looking like they want to go ahead and pressure this lane right here, right now. Raybro is also level 9, does have access to double Forge Spirits. This tower is getting low. Viper just going to go ahead and continue to chunk away at this. He's going to leave it above deny range so that they can use the next creep wave to go ahead and take that tower as quickly as possible. Sunstrike re-invoked by Raybros. We're possibly going to be seeing another initiation here as everyone but Cakes is here. However, he does have that TP on the Centaur, but Raybro is taking quite a bit of damage, sends himself into the air. Mechanism used by Aladil, and now the Ravage does hit onto Relic. Going to get slowed down by that Viper Strike as well as the Poison Attack, slowing down that Remnant. Meanwhile, in the top side of the fight, the Shackles is there onto Greedy, but the Sunstrike is off the mark. Now Cakes wants to TP and turn this fight, does get the Stomp onto Greedy, taking quite a bit of damage. I'm a Sheep sucks towards the top, taking equal amounts of damage as the chase is now turning in favor of Luccini as they are running down the members of Swag. Fisher does come out to stall that, but Leo is there to go ahead and get the headshot onto the Rasta. First person to fall in this fight, and maybe we'll see them continue the siege, maybe we won't. We'll let them decide that, as the DD is found by TA in that bottom run.
Yeah, that fight was very forced when all of a sudden the Rampage came out, or the Ravage is what I meant to say. Ravage came out, it seemed like it was really, really forced. They had to go, and it looks like they were getting into a really bad situation. The Centaur came in, used his Stampede, and it was looking like it was going to be really, really bad for Luccini. However, the fight somehow turned around. I actually don't even know what was the real tide turner, I guess, in the middle of that fight. But
middle lane? No, never mind. He does Remnant out before the last path hits. Yeah.
But somehow Luccini managed to win that fight. The Tide by Tio actually did a good job of rotating up around here. And he knew he just had to gush to kill the Rasta, but he did a good job of staying on that high ground. Knowing that he'd always be in range, he stayed on that high ground waiting for his cooldown before he popped down and used it. Because he didn't want Ryaboras on the Invoker to be able to disable him in some way. So just good heads-up play by him to use the fog to his advantage.
Top tower is going to get sieged now. As Luccini wants to stop this, we will go ahead and pull up the net worth graph, guys. Sorry, that was down. Forge Spirit's going to get cleaned up here as this push will be stalled. Looks like actually Luccini wants to go ahead and take the push into their own hands. Switch it into the top lane of Swag as they want to take down that T1 tower and make a 3-tower advantage in this game so far. All 5 heroes will be here as Tide is TPing in. Ravage is coming off cooldown. About 25 seconds, and in Dota 25 seconds is not that long of a time. We will see this tower get chunked down relatively quickly. The question is, does Ryaboras and Relic get the trade from middle? Most likely they will. It depends on whether or not Luccini comes back to defend, I think. Or if they continue going and just take 2 towers for 1, and it looks like that's what they might choose to do. No heroes are going to TP.
I think you keep going.
No, Tio is going to go ahead and come back to defend this, as well as multiple TPs. Now 3, now 4. As Tio is coming in from behind, he has access. The Ravage gets thrown up in the air by Ryaboras to prevent that, but the reinitiation could begin. Ravage is thrown out, does only hit on Ryaboras. Sleazel is slightly out of the range, but the Ice Pack actually stopping that as Jakiro blows up Invoker, immediately following after multiple right clicks. And now that the Centaur ult has been used, Cakes is a little bit out of position here. He's going to throw down the Stomp, but with all the right clicks in the Ice Path, I don't think he's getting out of here. And that will be 2 kills for 1 tower and no answer. Or sorry, 2 kills and a tower for no answer, as Luccini takes a lead in the scoreboard, 6-5 in this game so far.
Yeah, the reason I was saying why you keep going is because Ravage was still on cooldown for 6 seconds, but they did a good job of actually sending Tide walking all the way from the top
great
lane
Fisher
to
to
behind.
stop that initiation. Actually, maybe not, as I'm a Sheep Sucks is going to get stunned up by that Ice Path, and now Relic might be in trouble as we do see the Impetus coming out. That does go through Flame Guard because it is pure damage. What is Relic going to do here? He does move up, does get slowed by that trap. Doesn't look like they want to follow it up here, as Greedy's going to pop a fresh Refraction Charge. There goes the Cold Snap, as well as right clicks coming out of Invoker. The Ice Path is there to zone, but not enough to do anything yet, as we do see those Forge Spirits getting focused down. Ryu Burrows in the area as well, and off to the side, Sleazel looking like he wants to get some kind of initiation. Relic moving forward, posturing a bit. Will take an Impetus, trying to dodge it with that Sleight of Fist combo, but does not actually get it. Will go ahead and throw down a Spirit and TP back. As honestly, Luccini just doesn't seem to want to stop, and I don't blame them. They have no reason to. They're going to continue to push this. Tower's down to 400 HP. And Niz is right there. Need to get it. They will get it. Does go down, and they are now up 5 towers in this game. And honestly, I was not expecting this coming out of Luccini. This is very strong play.
Expect this to keep happening, and now that's actually the Blink Dagger on the Tidehunter. He's probably going to fly that in or pick it up at the side shop.
Yeah. Oh, no,
and then they're going to push this top tower. They want to be pushing this top tower and have an engage at this top tower, and they want to wipe Swag, and that's how they're going to be able to push the high ground. But they're definitely snowballing off these.
Well, Relic in the middle lane, going to get stalled up here by the Templar Assassin, which is very important. So
they're definitely snowballing off these towers. They were looking for the potential of a hard engage at that middle lane. If there was going to be a fight that was going to look really one-sided, that was one of their opportunities. If we smash them in this fight, that's how we can take high ground. But now
middle lane, it looks like Greedy might go down as he's getting dove on by both the Ember Spirit and Invoker. Now he's going to go ahead and turn on to Relic, and honestly, he could just blow Relic apart. There is the ultimate coming out of the Centaur, but unfortunately doing the opposite effect as, of course, Impetus gains damage over distance. Now the forward traps to continue the pursuit. There is the TP, but he chooses to use Ravage, and now Cakes will go down. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Sleazel, I'm a Sheep Suck, went ahead and fell to the bottom lane, fell to the Viper on Aleadil as they go up 10-5 in the scoreboard, and now look to posture on this top tower. Instead, they're just going to go for Roche, and Roche is usually the safer call, especially when you have a team fight.
I'll especially explain why that is. So when they were at the mid tier 2, they were looking for a team fight that would get them completely smash them and go uphill. But it's really hard for them to 100% guarantee that and force it because they didn't have the Tide Blink. Now that they had Tide Blink, they were going to be able to go top and push and hope to completely smash them in a fight, once again be able to breach high ground.
Well, it looks like Swag wants to defend this. Sorry, I had to cut you off, but we do see the Spirit go in, and now the wards are there as well. Roche dropping down to 1,000 HP. They should be able to finish it before anything else happens. Tio is going to throw down that Gush, as well as the Anchor Smash stalling up Ryu Burrows, who throws himself into the air. Greedy is going to turn around and fight Roshan while fighting Relic. The question is who's going to win, Relic or Roche, and it looks like, actually, Relic goes down to Roshan. Greedy picks up the Aegis, so he will be revived here, and now 3 are down for Swag, and all of the sudden, the biggest upset of the tournament might be happening as Cakes is going to get cleaned up by Greedy. The stun goes there as well. There goes the Impetus to finish him up, and meanwhile, Aleadil is going to go ahead and chase down Ryu Burrows, and if he doesn't get juked around in circles, which it looks like just happened, he should go down. Actually, he's going to turn around. Maybe this is a big mistake. Does throw down that Yules, and now the Sunstrike, but it misses slightly off. Ryu Burrows not making the clutch play that he wants to make, and now 15-6 in favor of Luccini is, again, not to call it early, but we're looking at what possibly could be the biggest upset of the tournament so far. After a long pause, I'm kind of excited.
They're going to keep pushing, and they got 40 seconds on Ravage now, but let me quickly explain. So they're trying to force a fight. They don't want to force a fight uphill. That's going to be a very hard fight to win. If they fight right here, that's going to be a much easier fight for them to win, because they're not dealing with the uphill, the fog, and all that stuff. Even though they wiped them in the middle lane, they chose to go to Roche rather than going and clearing that top tower, because if they get Roche, then we have Aegis. Then we can then push top tower and win that fight without having to initiate uphill and having to win that fight where they've got a whole bunch of room. We can try to do it at the top tower, and this top tower that's still alive for the Dire is actually a resource for Radiant to try and force a fight there that's going to be favorable to them. Now, Swag has to realize this. If they get into a bad fight there, they could very well get in a really, really bad spot in this game, because Luccini is spiraling really, really hard out of control. And that's the whole idea behind their draft, and they're making it work.
Try not to say anything. Try not to say anything, as we do have a pause. But, yeah, I think Luccini has a very good chance of taking this game. However, that being said, Swag has the experience, to my knowledge. To my knowledge, I could be completely wrong, and the chat could flame me, or the chat could pull out some information that I am not aware of. But to my knowledge, Luccini has not had any deep tournament runs, or anything like Ryu Burrows, or like playing for eHug, playing in a gaming house like most of these people have done. So they do have the experience under their belts, but honestly, experience only matters so much if you can turn that experience into good plays and good tactical decision making. And they haven't been able to yet. Honestly, they've been kind of running into Luccini. I almost feel like, and go out on a limb and say this, and I might get flamed by the NA community, but I kind of feel like they're just running into them and not trying very hard at all. Like, it kind of feels like that, because I expect a little bit more out of them. Like, if they're going to take a fight around Roche, they better damn well win that fight, because they're about to lose Aegis as well. But, like Relic running in alone into the pit, his teammate not helping him, Ryu Burrows throwing himself up into the air. It seemed like a hectic fight, as if they weren't actually playing together at all.
I think this Luccini team needs a lot more respect. However, I think Swag is playing with too much confidence, and it's hurting them because they're going a little too far, and they're getting picked off, and they're actually outplaying themselves. The players of Luccini are playing very well, and they are outplaying the players of Swag at the moment, but I think Swag is partly outplaying themselves as well, making a little bit too cocky decisions. And look, Swag isn't even going to defend this tower. They know exactly what I was talking about. If they lose this fight there, it's all over. They need to defend just the high ground.
Yep. It is worth noting, however, that if they can get set up, Luccini that is, before Swag is set up to defend this high ground, then it doesn't matter. As soon as you surrender your high ground advantage, it becomes a big deal, and we might be seeing the mech get
fight.
used here. This will be most likely the fight to decide most of this game, as high ground is achieved by Luccini. Now the Blink Ravage hits on 3 in the background. Immediately Sheep gets blown up. He does get the wards down before he dies. Actually, the counter mech to heal that up, and the great reinitiation by Cakes over to the left side gets a double stun, but 3 heroes are down low. Lil Deal is just going absolutely ham in the background. Is on a monster kill with a double kill, looking to make it a triple kill. The Yule's up into the air, but it looks like Cakes might actually just die to the passive damage from the corrosive skin, and now Lil Deal's not even done yet. He's just going to continue fighting this. He doesn't have the the Aegis, but they are going to clean up this tower. And honestly, when you lose your tower and all that, maybe Greedy might get picked off here. Is a great initiation from Relic, using his spirits to get that right at the right time. And Jakira will be collateral as well. But yeah, Niz, I'll leave that to you. What do you think about the breakdown of this fight?
They wanted that to be a Rax push. They didn't get Rax, but it wasn't the worst thing in the world. They broke the tier 3. That tier 3 tower going down is absolutely huge. Unfortunately, it's not the best outcome for them. It actually hurts them a little bit. They needed to win that fight harder. They had a really good Ravage. I think they went a little deep, but then again, a little deal went he went halfway to the fountain, and he was killing heroes. But maybe that was too deep. Maybe they just need to play around him. He push up maybe where the tier 3 tower used to be, push up around there, and his team plays around him there. I think maybe going so deep was part of the mistake. But they're still in this game. They still have a huge gold lead. It's over 10k, but it is a very slippery slope, and this could quickly start. Basically, that gold grab could essentially fall off the cliff, and all the power, all Relic, the control in game can come back in Swag's favor.
They definitely need an Orchid right now, I think, because Relic bought back during that fight. Was there any other heroes that bought back?
I can check.
Yeah, I think it was just Relic.
Just Relic.
Okay, so Relic bought back, but now, if you look at his farm, he's got 14-minute Ember Spirit farm, and he's barely even to the first piece of the Battle Fairy. He could go into a BKB, but forcing a BKB first, yeah, he will go ahead and do that most likely. Forcing BKB first out of Ember makes the hero incredibly weak in the portion of the game where you expect him to have the most impact. Because he's not going to be dealing tons of damage, he's basically just going to be alive. And that's not what they need right now. They need more than that. And I think that's why Luccini is just grouping right back up and going down top. I wouldn't be surprised to see Greedy immediately rotate in the next few seconds here, as they want to push this high ground and go for the win right here.
But you've also got Sleezel, who's got Blink Dagger on the Earthshaker to deal with.
He just picked that up recently, correct?
Yeah, I believe it was right after that top fight. But yeah, so that's going to be very, very difficult to deal with. Very difficult to push uphill. But like I said, they've reached the tier 3. So that means their creeps are going to go really up, and they're going to be able to take the high ground. But it's a scary, scary push right now. And it's all going to be on Tio, all on this Tide. When he decides to go, they should, like I said, they should play around a little deal on the Viper and his positioning, and Tide has to be there to back it up. But of course, Swag knows this. They know that the Ravage is the thing that's going to make or break the fight, most likely. And so they're going to stay very spread out. Look at the spread out there.
This is going to be the beginning, as we do see the Fisher blocking off multiple. It actually pushes the Viper back onto the other side. Now Greedy on one side, but it doesn't matter because he's not the one trapped in. It's them trapped with him as he cleans up the Rasta. Buyback from I'm Sheep sucks as they want to try to defend this blink initiation from Cakes, but now the blink reinitiation from Tide as he hits a Ravage on 3 heroes. I'm Sheep sucks getting low as Cakes dies before him, and now Ryu Burrows getting focused down the buyback from Cakes as Relic is going to get low as well. Relic should fall in this situation as he does now fall in the background. However, though, a great reinitiation from Sleazel with that Echo Slam, but is it enough as he's dropping low? The Viper is just going absolutely ham, and with 4 other people on his team still alive, Ryu Burrows is going to try to hold this out, but Ryu Burrows can't fight the entire team by himself, and Ryu Burrows will go down. He buys back, throws down the Sunstrike, but off the mark slightly as Greedy gets away. And that may have not been the best trade because you didn't get a Rax, but you just forced so much out of Swag. And yeah, they're not going to be done here. There is the Forward Spirits, but now the Ice Path as well. They could just try to kill him, but I think what they need to do is try to go for the Rax here, but actually they are going to try to go for him as he does get the Melt Strike, misses it, but Ryu Burrows, low on health, gets the Ghost Walk, is turned around on though because of that Sentry Ward now. The Shackles is there to go ahead and remove some of those refraction charges. Ryu Burrows is still on the run, is actually going to most likely die, maybe not, as he gets a great Force Staff and Tornado cleaning up the Templar Assassin, but now he will get cleaned up by the Jakiro. Meanwhile, on the other side, WoW getting chased by Sleazel and I'm a Sheep sucks, both supports chasing one support. At the end of that though, Niz,
okay,
what the hell happened?
Here we go. So that was 2 buybacks from Swag. Rasta and Invoker both bought back. I think Luccini made a mistake when Invoker bought back and came back in. They focused Invoker. Yes, had they killed Ryu Boros on that Invoker, that would have been absolutely huge, but they took way too much time doing it. You have to play the advantage. You have to take the Rex. Ryu Boros wasn't, I mean, he was a threat for sure, but I think you could have easily taken that melee barracks and backed. And that would have been fine. That's exactly what you want. The next hard part would have been the next uphill push in another lane. But you've got those melee creeps, which are very hard to deal with at this point in the game, to deal with. And they're going to be pushing in the top lane. So that would have been very hard. I'm a Sheep sucks, actually, just placed this ward, which is really good to know. So what that's going to do is it's going to allow his team to know the positioning of the Tide at all times. And it's actually very unlikely that they're going to counter ward that. Although, who knows? Maybe Luccini will know to counter ward this. Because
do they have a gem
I know
yet?
to do it, but I doubt they'll invest in the gem.
Yeah, I mean, it is a decent idea when you're ahead, but it looks like they're just going to go ahead and try to brute force. As actually Relic is caught out in the middle lane, he does have that Remnant to go back to, but Viper didn't really use anything, and it's worth noting he does pick up a Reaver now. Greedy is not really in the area either, but he can get there relatively quickly with the drums in phase.
Tio is pinging him out saying, hey, wait a second, Greedy's all the way back here, let's play safe. You're actually getting a little too far forward, actually.
And
for my
EMP
liking,
thrown a little bit early, which means they won't have access to it for this fight. Now Ryu Burrows, position in the front, will get Viper Strike. He's going to take about 300 damage from that, but will be able to heal up, as we do now see Shockwave as well as Meteor invoked up, and this fight could be breaking out any moment, guys. As most likely, this quarterfinal game will be decided by this game, as the Viper Strike does go back up onto Ryu Burrows. He's going to throw himself up in the air, but the Fisher is there to hit on 2. The Blink Ravage is actually going to hit on 4 instead, which is the biggest initiation yet. Cake's taking a ton of damage in that Macro Pyre, but Sleazel coming in with that Echo Slam, absolutely cleaning house, but his team got cleaned before that happened, and now with no buybacks, maybe all of them on low HP, they might be able to actually defend this. WoW is going to have to retreat. Greedy does get off that refraction, and it looks like they want to try to clean up these wards. He will dodge the Sunstrike. Great tuition there from him, and maybe he gets this attack off. No, the meld was there, and now he might get picked off. Does die to the wards, and honestly, Swag is just doing a great job holding this game to the very end on this Rax. They're not giving it up by any means, and now WoW, little bit in the wrong spot, as Ryu Burrows is in the area, so is I'm a Sheep sucks, and they have Sunstrike. in 5 seconds, and that's exactly what they're going to wait for. Hex, Aethershock, now the Shackles, and the Sunstrike. Actually, because of a little bit of miscommunication, I lied. WoW does still get hit by it. No! He actually gets off the healing as well as the Force Staff, and now, honestly, I don't think they'll be able to bring him down, as he'll be able to kite around with that healing. He does have 4 points in Untouchable, so it's almost impossible to kill him with physical damage, and all of that time now invested by them is going to give Luccini time to reset back up and top and potentially go for the fight here.
You know, I said this in the draft. How do you push uphill? It's going to be very, very hard to push uphill. And now we're seeing, yes, this has gone a little bit later than I was anticipating, but, you know, it's very, very hard at this point in the game to push uphill and win against these guys. Sleazel is doing an incredible job with his positioning. The first fight, he was down below. He's over here. He's over here. Right? And that fight, he completely switched it up. He's up here. And I have no idea what actually stopped him, because he threw out that fissure, and that fissure was monstrous, and I was just waiting for him
for the Ravage. I think he was waiting for the Ravage. I think they've already resigned to the fact that they can't stop Tide from reinitiating. So rather than double initiate, use your initiation, force out the counter initiation, and then counter initiate the counter initiation, as we do see Relic starting off this fight with that Bolas, but the Sunstrike is dodged with a good Force Staff. However, Jakiro is caught in a bad spot, as he's going to take a ton of damage after that Fissure, stalling him out under that Meteor, and now Viper caught on the wrong side as his team is nowhere near him. Going to take that Shockwave first, does have the Viper Strike, turns on to Sleazel, and just starts bleeding him, but yes, now Greedy is here to help it out. But Viper taking so much damage is going to fall. Greedy does get the consolation prize on that Earthshaker, but it might not be worth it.
To get out.
As now actually Greedy caught out, staying a little bit too long, will get stomped as well as double-edged, clean up in the end. And now honestly it's getting to the point where Swag, this is in their hands. They've held a 12,000 gold advantage. They've held a 100 experience advantage for the last 2 major fights. I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon.
Yeah, they've, like I said, they're falling off the cliff now, and you know, Swag, this is their game now. It's tilted in their favor, and they're just coming back in the game. But it is still a slippery slope. If they lose one of these team fights, they're going to be in a real bad spot. They're probably going to lose the game if they lose a team fight really hard while it's on their side of the map, mainly in their base. But we've already seen they're really favored to win these fights now at this point in the game. And unfortunately, with all that, the fight that just happened there, Luccini lost their Viper, and Viper is so pivotal to the strategy. He is their hero. He was their big tanky hero. He's the one who's doing all the damage. He's 13, 4, and 7. Apart from the Tide Ravage, he is their lineup. And yeah, with losing him, it really sets them back, and they're not able to push. They have to back. Even though it ended up to be a trade, they have to back, because Viper is, well, he's the real threat. And I don't know how or if Relic even knew that Greedy was all the way down by bottom rune when he initiated there, because it seemed like he was so confident because he knew that they were outnumbered.
Oh, this ward is actually 30 seconds old, so that might not have been...
No, that ward wasn't there.
Yeah, that ward
They had no
there, so.
vision. They had no vision on the map, apart from their creeps.
Well, maybe good intuition here, as Sleazel is going to throw off that Fissure in the middle lane. However, it looks like they're the ones who are about to be initiated on. Trap goes out, slowing Relic, but he did already get the Flame Spirit off, so he will be able to go ahead and get away. Invis Rune on Jakiro, as all 5 heroes of Luccini are looking to go ahead and group up here and push potentially. Forward Spirit attempting a stall, but they are just going to go ahead and resign to taking Roche maybe, as the Sunstrike does come through. They will attack Roche even though the Sunstrike came, but I don't think they're really concerned. Last time there was a Roche fight, they won it. Question is, can they win it again with Tidehunter and Enchantress going the opposite direction? All of a sudden, this is going to be a bad fight. Tornado comes out as well as the EMP. They were running towards the opposite direction. However, a Fissure preventing preventing Roche from following. Now, fight spread out quite a bit here. Greedy is the one who's going to get the jump, dealing quite a bit of damage onto Relic, as he's already down to 900 HP. The good Shockwave is going to stall that out, but the Ravage is even better, hitting on 4. Sleazel in the background, waiting for his perfect initiation. He does throw out the Fissure to stall it out, but Cakes is already going down really quick. Down 2, down 3, 3 buybacks, and oh, now 4, as 4 buybacks are going to come out. And 4 heroes were down, but now 4 heroes are back up, and they looks like they want to reinitiate here. They're aware of the fact that Ravage is down, and it looks like with that Yules, they could turn around and continue this fight. Looks like the Echo is going to be coming any second as the Great Stomp hits onto, but yeah, does get the blink canceled from the Earthshaker. Not going to be able to hit that Echo Slam, and it looks like Cakes is going to get cleaned up because of that. And in the background, Relic cleans up the Jakiro. But wow, again, just standing in the backgrounds as that Enchantress doing insane amounts of damage. Relic actually taking a ton of damage, not going to go down as he is able to kite around, but wow gets a triple kill or a monster kill as he's just absolutely going out of his mind. Relic dropping low will fall, and that is a total of 5 buybacks, a total of 8 deaths coming on the side of Swag as they could not seem to get their act together in that fight and just absolutely got wrecked asunder by this Enchantress who is sitting on a monster kill.
That was such a sloppy team fight, but yeah, I said, oh, he messed it up in the middle of the fight. That was actually, I don't know if you caught it on the camera, but Sleazel actually had his blink canceled by something, and he Echo Slammed essentially nothing. I think maybe it hit Enchantress, but I guess maybe Enchantress threw something at him and hit him, but I don't know what hit him. But
maybe just a good right clicker. Good thought about it, but Riot Bros looks like he wants to try to stop this alone. He is going to go ahead and throw the Deafening Blast. Looks like it's going to peel out Viper, but there's no way that they're going to be able to stop this. Roche, the question is the Earthshaker going to jump in? He does, and that actually means he could just get turned around here on, and will they burst him in time? No, it doesn't look like they will. He will TP back to the Fountain. Viper Strike, not going to be enough to take him.
He could die. Oh.
No, it's not going to be enough, unfortunately, with that Fountain regen, but whew, this game is getting heart-pounding right now as Luccini is definitely looking to finish what I was saying. They were happy with the fact that this game was looking like an upset. It's turned around since then, but now it's returned around again as that gold graph is experience graph. Yeah, gold graph is starting to spike back up, and the experience graph topping places we haven't even seen yet. Now over 10K, approaching that 12K mark.
Unfortunately, the gold doesn't mean anything now. It's just who wins a team fight, and obviously items and stuff come into play. Oh, smoked, so they have good positioning on Sleazel. This is really smart.
Yeah, that's what they did last fight as well. We'll see if it'll pay off this time. Did get quite a bit of that Flaming Fists around, but now they're going to go ahead and reinitiate. Yeah, he is running around the south side looking for that reinitiation. 4 staff out as they lose that top racks. Greedy is taking quite a bit of damage, but remember, he has that Aegis. Wards are down, but not going to be down forever. They are only 30 seconds left, and they could go ahead and just wait this out if they wanted to. I think that would be the smart, patient decision. And it looks like that's what they are going to do. Maybe not. Greedy just maybe posturing. I think they should resign to waiting this out and not try to force it when the wards are up. They have 15 seconds. They need to wait. They just need to hold out for this time. Sleazel is up. Smoke is revealed. So now they will be able to see where he is positioned and be prepared for that. The question is, guys, will Luccini pull off the upset of the tournament as they go up for this top racks? Wards do fall, as this would be the moment for them to go. They choose not to go, as looks like TA is going to apply pressure in the middle lane. Again, I think this is a smart decision. If they're going to go in 30 seconds, or if they're going to go now, why not wait 30 seconds, pressure out the rest of the lanes, and then go when Swag has to be considering dealing with 2 waves of farm, which is exactly what's going to happen right now. They're going to peel 2 heroes bottom. The rest of them are going to stay up top to defend, but Greedy's immediately going to move in. There's the Tornado EMP, going to drain her mana. But it is, again, worth noting she has that Aegis. Viper Strike goes on to Invoker as Relic throws back his Spirit. Will throw out the Flaming Fist, or sorry, not Flaming Fist, Sleight of Fist. But now the initiation from TO7 gets I'm a Sheepsuck immediately, and now Cakes will blink into the back, trying to take down the Viper. But in the meantime, Relic taking a ton of damage. Viper just standing in the back, dealing a ton of damage to Riot Bros himself. The blink initiation from Sleazel only hitting on 1. The Ice Path onto him. No one on the team of the no one on the Dire side has any buybacks. Cakes will blink forward and go for the stun as WoW is standing in the background and just manning up against Riot Bros. Might actually be able to get him as he does go down, and now Relic is one of the last important members standing as Cakes is now officially the only member last standing. And it looks like with that, Luccini takes racks and is potentially on their way to take this game and upset Swag in the quarterfinals of the Semi-Pro, or yeah, the Semi-Pro Cup Series Sunday edition.
Yeah, that was crazy. Actually, I was watching Sleazel so intently that fight.
Oh, Deso on TA now.
And I figured out what it was last fight. When he fissured, he must have hit Viper, and he got the corrosive skin on him, so that would have disabled his blink, so he wouldn't have been able to blink. This time, he waited. So that's why he was a little slow jumping in, and unfortunately he had to just blink in just to kill the Viper. But
Well,
here we go,
Cakes is going to
initiation.
re-initiation, but there's only 2 up right now, and Cakes is absolutely melting as Greedy goes on a monster kill streak. I'm a Sheep Suck is going to attempt to defend, but yes, as Niz says, I agree, that is going to be game, as Swag gets kind of run over in some ways, but also is able to hold off for a ridiculous amount of time against the push of Luccini. But Luccini is able to do it after all of the pauses, after all of the waiting. They're able to take out the strongest team in this week's Semi-Pro Cup Series.
They haven't tapped out yet.
I mean, do you see a way for them to come back?
No.
So I got to defend.
No.
Okay. Well, then I'm not alone.
They haven't tapped out yet. So.
They haven't tapped out yet, but it's honestly at this point, you know, I think at this point it's a little bit more of upsetness or you know, honestly shock. Right? I mean, they did not expect to lose this game. No one has heard of Luccini. I have not heard of them. Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe I haven't been around the scene as much as I should be. But Luccini is definitely showing that they're the better team here. Sleeves will set up on the right side, wants to try to turn this around for his team. The Tornado comes out onto BBB as he force-taps and self forward to actually, and then the double force-tap back by his teammate is going to save him. Dodges the Sunstrike. Absolutely amazed by this play, and now Greedy just comes back up with that Aegis and going to clean house of that roster, dropping down immediately as he gets bursted into oblivion. Riot Burrows tries to stand and fight, but with the Daedalus Deso, you're not going to stand and fight, Greedy. There's the Blink Echo Slam initiation in the background, but Tio's about to have Ravage off cooldown. In fact, it is off of cooldown. I would be expecting it any second. And with that Ravage onto 3 heroes, that'll be 4 down and now 5 down. And GG is called by Sleazel. GG, well played. Swag losing out to Luccini in the quarterfinals. Niz, what are your thoughts about this game?
Holy crap, that was an awesome game to watch. Wow. Wow. What do I have to say? There was a player named WoW, and that game was just wow. That was actually incredible. I guess we're going to hear more of these guys. I don't know. I hadn't heard of them either, but they played a really difficult style of game to play, and they did it against really, really good players. And they ended up walking away with a win. And even though that last push, yeah, they hadn't tapped out. Maybe it was because all 5 of their buybacks were coming back off cooldown, but they didn't have gold for any of them. But yeah, that was an incredible game by Luccini, whatever you want to call them. It was a good game, and it was really exciting. Yeah, there was a lot of positives, but whatever. We get to see them again.
Most definitely, and guys, I will be cutting this VOD, so there's not as much the pauses, but if you enjoyed this cast, and thank you so much for those of you who stuck around, please follow below on my channel. All of the VODs will be available at YouTube/DotaRaptors, and of course, if you're enjoying Niz, definitely check out his Twitter at NizCast, as he will keep you guys updated. But we will be following Luccini into Root. I assume there will be a short break before that game, as these players have just waited 30 minutes to play and just took a 30-minute win. So give it about 5 minutes, guys. We apologize for all the waiting, but we will be bringing you guys the next game as soon as it starts.